All right. What if chasing women is actually keeping you from becoming the person or the man that you want to be? Because some men will spend a lot of time, I'm talking about hours, thinking about a woman who barely thinks about him, while ignoring the one thing that they should be really chasing, which is excellence. Now, today, let's talk about why the more you build yourself up, your purpose, your life, the less you feel like you need to chase someone. So, if you're new here, my name is Mitchell. I'm a relationship coach. And today you're going to be watching Stop Chasing Women, Start Chasing Excellence. So, let's start off. Chasing women, number one, chasing women can become a substitute for building your life. So, what you delay, you get it. So, a lot of men spend a lot of time thinking about a particular woman. Why hasn't she texted me back? She doesn't like me. Should I ask her out again? And there's nothing wrong with wanting a relationship. I think that's human nature. Everybody wants to be in a happy or healthy relationship. But the problem is when dating becomes the primary source of your purpose, then it becomes a problem. Hope you guys can hear me. All right. Because now your emotional state is dependent on whether or not she likes you or she wants you. So if she texts you, then you're happy. But if she doesn't text you, then you're miserable. If she rejects you, then suddenly you start questioning yourself like, am I worthy? So your whole self worth and your happiness is all dependent on one person. Now, I've always talked about how happiness should be from you, meaning you built the way your life is. You built your life up the way you want it to be, and then you're there to share your type of happiness with the other person. So you're there to share your better half to the other person. And the reason why I say that is because when you get into a relationship to share your part of your happiness with them, your happiness is no longer dependent on whether they text you or not, or they like you or whatever. Because once that happens, if your happiness is dependent on another person, then happiness now becomes this kind of moving target. And when it becomes this moving target, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when your day's going to be happy. You never know when you're going to be excited about things. Now, imagine you're the guy, you're just happy that you're waking up every day doing the things that you love doing. And naturally, you're just going to be a much more magnetic type of person to whoever's around. And so naturally, they're going to jump in and be like, wow, there's something about this one guy. I don't know what it is. Every time I'm around him or every time I see him, he's always happy about doing the things that he loves doing. I'm intrigued. I'm curious. What has gotten this person, like, that's just a very contagious thing to have. It's being happy. And a lot of people lack that. And I get it. And it's because they're not working on themselves enough. Like, they hear a lot of things like, oh, go to the gym, read a book, writing your goals down, sleep early, eat healthy. Like, they're doing all these things, but yet they don't understand their why. So if you don't understand why you're doing something and you're just mindlessly doing it, then you need to dive deeper into understanding why you're doing it so that you have a better understanding. So it's not so much sometimes that you lack doing something, it's the lack of understanding something as well. Now, all that aside, with women and why, she texts you, so your happiness is dependent on her. As a guy, that is not a very favorable position to be in. Instead, like, imagine having someone in your life that or something, not someone, but something in your life that you're so invested in. You're not going to be wondering whether or not she's going to be texting you. You have something bigger than yourself, which is like, oh, I'm building something, right? I'm building something for myself so that I can help other people, or something that you're learning and then you're improving, something that challenges you. And that's the moment when your life starts moving forward. And she will know that. She will sense that type of energy. Your energy shifts. You're much happier. You're less needy. You're more independent. And that's the difference that makes a difference. It's that type of energy. And she would definitely feel that because she's already felt a bunch of needy, desperate, insecure men out there, right? So now, instead, you're coming from this place of, I like you. I would like to get to know you. Hopefully, we align with each other. If not, it's okay. And so that's the abundance type of mindset. And that you genuinely feel that. It's like, I like you. I like to get to know you. Hopefully we have something that aligns with us. If not, it's okay. I still want happiness for you. Even if it means it's not with me, and that's okay. Now, as opposed to a guy that's kind of like, well, think of it like this, okay? Example number one is, imagine a guy that spends like hours and hours, like 3 hours a day, scrolling through dating apps every single night, obsessing over every match, hoping that she will give him the time of day. He's constantly changing his pictures, he's optimizing his profiles, hoping that he will get a bite. Now, imagine the same guy that took, instead of 3 hours a day scrolling, he just, he does 1 hour, which is still excessive, but whatever, right? But he spent those other 2 hours investing into something bigger and more meaningful. Building a business, right? Training, dancing, whatever it may be, developing a skill or pursuing a career, something bigger than that. What's up, Bree? For anybody that's in here and just checking us out, Bree just started doing YouTube / Spotify podcast. Go check her out. All right, go show her some love. But back to the schedule. Okay, so you're building something. You're constantly 2 hours a day. Go check her out. 2 hours a day. Okay. Imagine you did that. Imagine you just went to the gym an hour a day. And you actually did the work, and you're eating, like that would change. Like 6 months to a year later, you're not just more successful, you're a different person. One day you will post it. It's fine. Okay, number two, excellence starts when you find something that moves you inside internally. This is excellence. Of course, Bree. I still want to watch it or listen to it. All right, so you can't tell somebody, oh, just go, you know what you're missing? You're missing excellence in your life. You miss it. Like, it doesn't work that way, right? You can't just be like, go chase excellence and expect to, magically give them a sense of purpose. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. You have to find something worth chasing. And for some people, that's the hardest part, is finding what they enjoy, finding what they love. So you got to ask yourself, like, what could I do for years without getting bored? And breathe this, a lot of this is for you too, because, I know you want to do this. There's going to be a lot of downtime. All right. So anyways, what can I do for years without getting bored, right? It's not something that's not something that sounds impressive. It's not something that, your parents told you that you should be doing. Not something that gets you a lot of attention, although it could. And it's not something that makes you look successful on social media, right? So the question is, what genuinely pulls you in? What is emotionally compelling to you that pulls you in? And so the thing is, it's like, well, what's something that you could work on for hours and suddenly realize it's like, holy shit, it's midnight. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And, that success leaves clues. It's like, I'm obsessed over this. And Bree, you already know me from doing all this podcasts. It's been years, and I still love doing this, right? Regardless of how many people's ever watching this. I don't care. Why? Because if I could get better, it means other people could get better. That's the bottom line. And so now, what do you find yourself researching when nobody is forcing you to do it? This is not a school project. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want to learn more about when no one's telling you to do it? So, and what subject that you could talk about for hours? Growth on both parts and learning. Absolutely. And so it's like, what problems do you actually enjoy solving? Because there's some problems where I'm like, look, I don't know how to help you, and I don't care to help. Like, it's not that I don't care about you. I just don't care to solve it. So indirectly, yeah, I'm not solving that problem for you. Good luck on that. But if you need help in relationships, you're talking to the right guy. If your car breaks down, you're wondering why it happened, I can't help you. Okay? Maybe Google it. So anyways, That's where you should start looking, okay? This type of excellence, because excellence requires repetition, not intensity, but repetition. And that's where confidence lies, right? It's in your repeated actions. Repetition is incredibly difficult when you hate the things that you're doing, okay? Imagine, speaking of repetition, imagine going home to the same face that you do not want to see. You're like, oh, fuck, this motherfucker again. Like, can you imagine how miserable you gotta be as a man to go back to a wife or a girlfriend? You're like, fuck, this again. Shit. This again. Right? That's gotta suck. I mean, and believe it or not, a lot of people, they think it's normal to stay in a type of relationship like that. But, do you. Do you. So, anyways, it's incredibly difficult to stick with something. It feels like a chore. That's what it is. You're like, fuck, I gotta do this again. I got my bad at though too with a bad attitude. Damn, and they got bad breath. Fuck. So and the thing is, it's like if you gotta be willing to do it. I always talk about that. So, like, if you gotta force yourself to do it, right? Stay in a relationship or whatever it may be. 3 months, 6 months. Maybe you're pushing a year and you're just like, hey, right? Isn't that how divorced parents are dropping off the kids at the ex's house? What do you mean? What do you mean by, isn't that how divorced parents are dropping off the kid at the ex's house? Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they deal with things, but there's a lot of there's a reason why there's a lot of breakups and divorces, right? People aren't happy and they're not honest with themselves. So, anyways, 6 months to a year is fucking difficult. Okay, it's very difficult to stick with something that you do not enjoy. Now, eventually, you're gonna quit because you don't enjoy the process. So remember, it's the process that you're supposed to be focusing on. Am I improving? Do I enjoy improving? Okay, like that's very important. And so, they're usually people who found something that they enjoy getting better at. That's usually easier to stick with. It's like, okay, I could stick with this because if you think about it, the people who become exceptional, they're not necessarily the most disciplined people. They're usually the people who found something that they enjoy doing and they enjoy getting better at it. That's what it is. Okay? A good chunk of my time it is. So, when you ask yourself this question, don't just ask yourself like, oh, what do I want to accomplish? Like, what do I want to look good on social media for? It's like, don't, okay? Like, ask yourself this, like, what do I enjoy becoming better at? What I enjoy. So the goal is to find something where the process is getting better, is more rewarding, or is rewarding enough that you're willing to stick with it. That's basically what it is. It's not the allergies, no. But do I sound sick? You know what? I think what it is, it's not as bad as last week, but I think when I talk, I get hot. And when I get hot, things just build up and it clogs my face. I think that's what it does. Anyways, I always clear my throat though, don't I? I haven't drank. I don't have my water bottle. Anyways, how many more slides do I have? I have two more. You don't find your purpose by thinking about it forever. You find it by doing things. You are natural. Keep it pushing. All right. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make is believing that they're going to sit down one day and just suddenly have a purpose. Like, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a long time. I found my purpose now. Yeah, it's doing this. It's working as, mechanics. I love working on cars. How many cars you worked on? 0, but that's my purpose. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You haven't done shit. Go do something. Go sit in the car and think about it. Maybe that's a little bit closer, right? You got to be in proximity. And so you got to be actually doing something. So it usually doesn't work that way, right? You discover yourself through experimentation. You try things, whether you're taking a class, you start a business, you learn an instrument, whatever it is. Go to the gym, start making videos, Bree. Um, Learn how to cook, travel, get inspired some way. You do something, and then you do it. You try things you've been curious about, and then that's how it starts. And maybe you try something and you think, that was interesting, but I don't care about it. Here's an example. When I tried playing the guitar, it was cool. I like the sound of it. But then when they say like, "Hey Mitchell, you gotta start reading notes," I was like, "Fuck notes," and I was like, that was it. I stopped. I didn't play the guitar, and I still have that same guitar that needs to be sold, but I have yet. So you know what? I don't know why I'm holding on to it. So, but that was it. I don't really care. I didn't care about getting better. So anyways, there's that. Then you try something else and suddenly you're obsessed with it. It's for example, this. I got obsessed with relationships and understanding it. I don't know how it happened, okay? I don't know. I guess it kind of started with like I was just curious about like, when you're hurt sometimes, you're like, fuck, how do I figure this out? What am I doing wrong? Like, I don't even know what kind of questions I'm asking myself, but yet little things like, okay, I did this right, but yet that's wrong. I did that right, but yet that's wrong. But then I see success from other people and like, how do you get there? How are you successful? Yet I'm over here stuck in the fucking mud trying to get my car out this whole entire time. And you're like you're playing F1, right? Like you're racing and I can't even get my car out of this jungle. Sell it or bring it to a guitar center. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I swear they give me like $20, right? I can't even buy a nice meal with that. Anyways, um so you get obsessed with the things that you want to do, right? You start watching a lot of YouTube videos about it. You start reading books about it, and then you're thinking about it while you're driving, right? Those are clues. Success leaves clues, right? And so if those are certain things you're constantly asking yourself, you're like, okay. And Bree, by the way, I think the reason why I'm clearing my throat so much is because I had a smoothie earlier and I have not drank water since. That just came to me. But anyways, you're obsessed. You're obsessing over things. You're reading books. That's how I was with relationship coaching. And I don't just teach relationship. I teach to have just a better life. Just so that you don't necessarily have to feel like, damn, I have to go out in order to feel happy, or I have to be doing something. I have to go to a club. Nobody goes to clubs anymore. I got to go to a rave. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, I'm happy by myself, but I'll be happy regardless of what I do. The only problem is when I do go out, usually things don't start till after 6 or 7, and I'm in bed by 9 o'clock usually. It's something deep. What's up? Okay, so now you might try something, Bree. You might try something. You might suck. Okay, that's perfectly fine. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not for you though. Sometimes in the beginning, it's very frustrating. In the beginning, it's because if you think about learning a new skill, whatever skill it is, first you suck, and then you suck less, and then you become you decent. You're like shit. You cool. You yeah. I ain't gonna pay you for that, and then you start getting good. You start getting good, and then eventually you might become excellent. That's how things, and it's not linear too, right? Like I still remember. I'm Bree. Like just imagine. Think about the days, the early like IG live days, right? I felt like I knew a lot. And I knew more than most people. Now I feel like I don't know shit. What's up, Red Rocks? I'm talking about chasing excellence and not chasing women. Absolutely. I don't know what I'm talking about, but thank you for staying here. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But that's the beginning. It's like first you're bad at it, and then you're less bad, and then you become decent, and then you start to get good. And some people might pay you a discounted price, and then you start charging a premium price. And so like the enjoyment often increases because you're improving. So when you're asking yourself this question, don't just ask yourself like, "Oh, am I naturally talented at this?" Like ask yourself, "Do I enjoy getting better at doing this?" And that's a much better question to ask yourself, because then you will start moving forward. Now, this is my last one, which is stay with it long enough to become dangerous. Okay. When I mean dangerous, I'm not talking about hurting nobody. Right. I'm just saying like be dangerous, like know your craft, know the ins and out of it, and you know how to solve a problem regardless. Okay. So I've always loved this quote, and to this day, I still do. It is most people overestimate what they could do in a year, but underestimate what they could do in 10. They overestimate what they could do in a year. All these New Year's resolutions. All right. Y'all ain't y'all ain't going to the gym. Okay. There's a very low percentage, and some people stick with it. So, anyways, but they underestimate what they could do in 10. Like, could you imagine? Even if you did like the bare minimum, you went once a week. That's 52 weeks in a year. But you did it 10 years straight. Do you know how much further you're going to be than a person that just made 10 years of 10 years of New Year's resolution but never stuck with it? Like that, think of that in that type of scale, right? And so, anyways, once you find something that genuinely pulls you in, that's emotionally compelling enough for you, the next challenge is sticking with it or staying with it, because everybody loves doing something, right? In the beginning, it first it sucks, and you're frustrated, things don't go the way you want it. But also on the other side, you start seeing a lot of excitement, which is, the beginning is pretty exciting because it's new. It's a new goal. You start buying new equipment. You may watch videos, and then things inspire you. You make plans. You set like deadlines, and you're motivated. And that, and then it really like hits, the reality hits. You realize you have to go through a lot of boring shit over and over for years, right? And then most of the time, this is where most people quit. And then you realize that, like, is this for me? Do I even know what I'm talking about? Or do I even know what I'm doing? And like I said, this is where most people quit. They want the result without falling in love with the process. And so that's why I stress so much about the process, about the things that you enjoy, because you have to remember from this standpoint, which is excellence is not a singular act. It comes from repetition. It comes from doing something long enough to develop mastery. And so that's why I love the idea of pursuing excellence instead of chasing women. The idea is women, they're not supposed to be a life project, okay? Women is not supposed to be a life project. What is your growth, your body, your mind, your career, your relationship, who you are as a person, so your character and your purpose. And I feel like this advice for yourself. Absolutely. I take this to heart every single time. So, your ability to create something meaningful. I will be a horrible advice giver if I don't even take my own advice. So, you know what? It will be great if you got an ounce of this advice and you took it somewhere. You will feel much better. You know what? There's always going to be some miserable person, and it is the way it is. I can't control that. But if he wants to get better, he has a choice. So anyways, your ability, okay? So your purpose, your character. So your ability to create something meaningful for yourself. Those are the things that you could spend decades improving. And here's the beauty of all of, like, if you were to put this all together, the beauty of all of this is you don't have to become the best in the world. You just have to be significantly or just slightly better than what you used to be as a person. And Maybe you were a personal trainer, right? I'm just using me as an example, right? But you want to become better at understanding the human body. So, kinesiology, just things like that. How does your body work? Why does it work that way? How does muscle work? Little shit like that. And then, or maybe you were a musician and then you spend a decade mastering an instrument, whatever it may be. And you don't have to be the best. You just have to love the progress that you're doing. Excuse me. So an example of mine is as a person that enjoys dancing. I love dancing, right? I'm not the best dancer. When I go into a class of people dancing, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker dance hella good. But I always find the progress and I see the progress that I'm improving on, and I find joy in that. How? Because I like to watch my older videos, and when I watch my older videos, I'm like, I am improving. I'm getting a little bit better. And something that what I've noticed, and this is all because I met someone. So I'm not gonna give his name, but I met this guy. I followed him for probably over 10 years as a dancer. And before that, I never really taken any dance classes. I just always enjoyed dancing. And so I watched his videos and I did the one dance and I was like, wow, I never thought I could learn his dance by just watching his videos. Like, to me, that was so great. It was very nice. And I was like, wow, I did it. I did it. Then I met this guy and then I was like, hey, let's do this dance together. Bree, you might know who it is, right? And so after we did it, he might have given it like 20-30%. Now, I get it. He was the original choreographer for that dance, but he put in maybe 20 or 30% effort in his dance. And I was like, and I was going like maybe 80. I was a little nervous, so maybe, but anyways, I was putting in about 80%, and I rewatched that video. I was like, how come it looked nothing like his? And so that was very humbling. And as I was watching it, I was like, all right, I've never done this before. I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a shot. So I had to relearn the same dance that I learned for a very long, I spent months trying to learn this dance. And then I had to pretend I didn't know anything about this dance and relearn it again. But this time I got to be precise. And then I think I got most of it down. I'm probably still missing about 20%, but whatever it is, I was like, wow, it was a very humbling experience just to be there and be like, wow, I get to relearn this again. And so for me to be a student again in that, I didn't think I needed to learn a choreography twice, but for me, I found a joy. I love doing it. All right. So every morning right before, as I'm going to the gym, as I'm just walking on a treadmill, I'm just watching that video. I'm like, okay, what is he doing and what am I doing? What am I doing? What I shouldn't be doing? What is he doing? And how can I make it better? Like, those are the things I'm constantly asking myself. So anyways, I wish there was a block button, but you know what? I don't mind the algorithm pushing this. So Red Rock, you do your thing. Keep typing, all right? So anyways, that's what happened with the whole process of me learning this twice. It was amazing. I had a great time. So anyways, where was I? Wait, not the best answer. Okay. So anyways, maybe you're a man. Okay. If you're watching this, you want to humble yourself a little bit. Maybe you're a man who simply decides like, look, I'm going to be the strongest, the healthiest, most disciplined version of myself that I can be. That's great. That's the type of excellence that people are attracted to. Eventually, you're no longer asking like, well, how do I get this woman to want me? You're asking yourself, well, how much more can I become as a man? And so that completely changes your mindset. So you have to change your mind. And once you change your mind, you change your life. Now, to summarize all this, okay, if you're upset and you got no pussy, okay, I get it. You get none. You don't need to stop wanting women, okay? You don't need to stop dating. You just need something in your life that's bigger than just getting a woman's attention. It's fine. You still got to know a little bit of game. You can't just not know any game and be like, "Oh, Mitchell told me to stop chasing women. I just need to chase." You still need to understand it. And so once you understand it a little bit, that's for a different video. And once you understand it enough and you're chasing excellence, you'll become a great fucking person. If you like this, like and subscribe. If this helped, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. All right, next week, same time. Peace.